Admiral Hyunwoo Park stood on the bridge of the UES Thunderstorm and watched the stars through the massive view screen. The ship was quiet, except for the soft hum of engines and the gentle beeping of computer systems. His fleet was the most feared, in human space known across the galaxy as the Deathworlder fleet. 5 huge battleships, 12 destroyers, and 30 smaller corvettes moved through space like hungry wolves. The crew called them Deathworlders because they came from Earth, a planet so dangerous that most alien species could not believe anything intelligent could survive there. Earth had poisonous air, deadly weather, dangerous animals, and diseases that killed without mercy. But humans had not just survived on Earth, they had become the top hunters on their world. Hyunwoo had served in the fleet for 20 years. He had fought pirates, stopped smugglers, and protected human colonies from raiders. His ships were built for war with thick armor and powerful weapons. Each crew member was trained to fight and kill when needed. They were not explorers or scientists. They were soldiers. The bridge door opened, and Captain Soo-Jin Lee walked in. She commanded the destroyer Iron Wind, one of the fastest ships in the fleet. Soo-Jin was small but tough, with scars on her hands from years of combat training. She had grown up on a mining colony where life was hard and people learned to be strong or they died. "Admiral, we are getting something strange on the communication channels," Soo-Jin said. She handed him a data pad with worried eyes. "Chief Kim thinks you should see this right away." Hyunwoo took the pad and read the information. His face became serious as he understood what it meant. "Get everyone to the command center now," he ordered. "All senior officers." Within minutes, the command center was full of people. Chief Communications Officer Dong-Hyun Kim was a thin man with quick fingers and sharp eyes. He had been listening to space radio signals for 15 years and could tell the difference between a real emergency and a fake one. Commander Eunbi Choi stood next to him, her uniform perfect and her expression calm. She was the head of tactical analysis and one of the smartest people in the fleet. "Show them what we found," Hyunwoo said. Dong-Hyun pressed some buttons, and the main screen filled with sound waves and strange symbols. "We picked this up about an hour ago," he explained. "It is coming from a star system about 3 days away from us. The signal is very weak, and the language is completely unknown." The screen showed patterns that looked nothing like human writing. The sounds that came through the speakers were high and musical, like birds singing. But there was something in those sounds that made everyone in the room feel uncomfortable. It was the sound of fear. "I ran the signal through our translation computers," Dong-Hyun continued. "It took time, but I think I understand some of it. This is a distress call from a species called the Kalani. They are asking for help." Captain Jin Ho-yoon spoke up from the back of the room. He commanded a corvette called Swift Strike and was known for asking tough questions. "Why should we care about aliens we have never met? We have orders to patrol human space and protect human colonies." Yoonbi stepped forward and activated her own display. Numbers and maps filled the screen, showing star charts and battle information. "I have been studying the signal data," she said. "The Kalani are not just asking for help from raiders or pirates. Someone is trying to kill all of them." The room became very quiet. Everyone knew the difference between a raid and genocide. Raiders took things and left. Genocide meant killing everyone and destroying everything. "Tell them about the other signals," Dong-Hyun said quietly. Yoonbi changed the display to show more information. "We found other transmissions in the same area. A species calling themselves the Vorthak Empire has been sending messages to their ships. From what we can understand, they are not just attacking the Kalani colony. They are trying to wipe them out completely." Captain Mi-Young-han, who ran the communications for the whole fleet, raised her hand. "Admiral, we have never made contact with alien species before. Earth Command has strict rules about first contact situations. We are supposed to report back and wait for orders from the government." Hyunwoo nodded. He knew the rules well. Humans had always wondered if they were alone in space, but they had never found other intelligent life until now. The discovery of not just one, but 2 alien species was huge news that would change everything on Earth. "How long would it take to get new orders?" he asked. "At least 2 weeks, Mi-Young replied. "Maybe longer if the politicians want to argue about it." Dong-Hyun played more of the alien signal, The fear in the voices was clear, even though no one could understand the exact words. There were sounds, like crying and what might have been screaming in the background. "The signal is getting weaker," he reported. "Either their equipment is being destroyed or there are fewer of them left to send messages." Yunbi brought up tactical information about the star system where the signals were coming from. Theta 7 is a small planet with no military value. It has some research stations and maybe a few thousand people living there. If someone wanted to hurt the colony, they would not attack this place unless they were trying to send a message. "What kind of message?" Sujin asked. "That nowhere is safe," Yunbi replied. "If you kill the people in the most peaceful place, everyone else becomes afraid." The room was quiet again as everyone thought about this. They were all soldiers who had seen war and death, but there was something especially horrible about attacking researchers and families who could not fight back. Captain Wu Sung Kang spoke for the first time. He was the oldest officer in the room and commanded the massive battleship Earth's Fury. His voice was deep and slow, like distant thunder. "Admiral, what do your instincts tell you?" Hyunwoo looked around the room at his officers. These were people who had followed him into battle many times. They trusted him to make the right decisions even when those decisions were dangerous. "My instincts tell me that we are about to learn something important about our place in the galaxy," he said. "If there are people out there who think they can kill entire populations just because they want to, then we need to show them they are wrong." He walked to the front of the room and faced everyone. "I know this breaks our orders. I know Earth Command will be angry. But I also know that we did not build these ships and train these crews just to watch genocide happen in space." Sujin smiled grimly. "The politicians can complain later. Right now, people need help." "All ships change course for Theta 7, Hyunwoo ordered. "Maximum speed. Send a message back to Earth Command explaining what we are doing and why. Tell them we will report in when we can." As the officers left to return to their ships, Dong-hyun stayed behind. "Admiral, there is something else you should know about the signals." "What is it?" "The Vorthok messages mention something called soft prey. From what I can understand, they think all intelligent life in the galaxy is weak and easy to defeat. They have never met anyone who fights back." Hyunwoo looked out at the stars again. In a few days, his fleet would arrive at an alien world where a species called the Vorthok was learning what it meant to prey on the innocent. They were about to discover that not all intelligent life came from safe, peaceful worlds. Some of it came from Earth. The human fleet dropped out of hyperspace at the edge of the Theta 7 system and immediately went to battle stations. Red lights flashed throughout every ship as crews ran to their positions. Admiral Hyunwoo Park stood on the bridge of the thunderstorm and stared at the main screen in anger and disgust. Theta 7 was burning. The planet that should have been green and blue was covered in orange flames and black smoke. 3 massive alien ships hung in orbit like metal vultures, firing bright beams of energy down at the surface. Smaller ships moved around the planet like insects, picking through the destruction. "Scan results coming in now," Commander Yunbi Choi reported from her station. Her voice was calm, but her hands were tight on her controls. "I count 3 heavy battleships and about 20 smaller vessels. The battleships are bigger than anything in our fleet." Captain Sujin Lee appeared on the communication screen from her destroyer Iron Wind. "Admiral, we are detecting massive energy signatures from those ships. Whatever weapons they are using, they are designed to destroy entire cities at once." Hyunwoo felt his jaw tighten. He had seen war before, but this was different. This was not soldiers fighting soldiers. This was murder from space, killing people who could not fight back. "Any sign of the Kalani?" he asked. Captain Jin Ho Yoon's voice came through from his Corvette Swift Strike. "Sir, I am picking up small heat signatures in space. Escape pods and damaged ships trying to get away from the planet. Some of them are still broadcasting distress signals." "Get out there and start rescue operations," Hyunwoo ordered. "Bring any survivors back to the fleet." "Already on my way, sir." The Swift Strike broke away from the main fleet and headed toward the floating debris. Its engines glowed bright blue as it accelerated toward the nearest group of escape pods. On the main screen, the alien attackers continued their work. The energy beams from their weapons turned forests into ash and boiled oceans into steam. Cities that might have taken decades to build disappeared in seconds. "This is not a military attack," Yunbi said quietly. "They are trying to make sure nothing survives. No people, no animals, no plants. Complete sterilization." Chief Communications Officer Dong-hyun Kim looked up from his station. "Admiral, the attackers are sending signals to each other. I am starting to get some translation." "Put it on speakers." Strange voices filled the bridge, speaking in harsh, guttural sounds that hurt human ears. The translation computer worked to change the alien words into English. Soft flesh collection proceeding normally. Resistance minimal as expected. This prey species shows typical garden world weakness. Harvest will be complete within 2 cycles. Acknowledged, Harvest Leader. The Vorthak Empire claims this system and all soft flesh within it. No prey has ever escaped the Great Hunt. Sujin's voice cut through the alien chatter. "Admiral, did they just call the Kalani prey?" Before Hyunwoo could answer, Jinho's excited voice came through the communications. "Admiral, I have survivors aboard. You need to see this." The main screen split to show the inside of the swift strike. Jinho was standing next to 3 small alien creatures that looked nothing like humans. They were about 4 feet tall with large dark eyes and covered in soft fur that looked like it had never seen violence. Their hands were delicate with long fingers meant for careful work, not fighting. They stood close together and shook with fear. "These are Kalani," Jinho explained. "They were researchers working on some kind of plant study when the attacks started. They have been hiding in space for 2 days." One of the Kalani stepped forward and spoke in musical tones. The translation computer worked quickly to change her words. "Please do not hurt us. We mean no harm to anyone. We study growing things and try to make food for hungry people. Why do the Vorthak want to kill us all?" Hyunwoo felt something cold and angry grow in his chest. These creatures were exactly what the distress signal had suggested. Peaceful researchers who had never hurt anyone and never would. "Tell her she is safe now," he said to Jinho. "Tell her we are here to help." Jinho spoke to the translation computer, which changed his words into Kalani language. The 3 survivors looked shocked when they heard his promise. The one who had spoken before replied with surprise in her voice. "You will fight the Vorthak for us? But you do not know us. We have nothing to give you in return." "Tell her that good people help each other," Hyunwoo said. "That is what humans do." While Jinho continued talking to the survivors, Dong-hyun reported more intercepted messages. "Admiral, the Vorthak ships have noticed us. They are sending signals." "Let me hear them." A new voice came through the speakers, deeper and more commanding than the others. "Unknown vessels, you enter claimed territory of the Vorthak Empire. Withdraw immediately or be destroyed. This prey species belongs to us." Captain Mi-young-han looked at Hyunwoo from her communications station. "How should we respond, sir?" Hyunwoo thought about the burning planet, the frightened survivors, and the casual way the Vorthak talked about genocide. He thought about Earth and how humans had learned to survive by being stronger and tougher than anything that tried to hunt them. "Open a channel to their fleet commander," he ordered. Mi-young worked her controls. "Channel open, sir." Hyunwoo walked to the center of the bridge where the camera would get a clear picture of him. He made sure his uniform was straight and his expression was calm. When he spoke, his voice was quiet and controlled. "This is Admiral Hyunwoo Park of the human Deathworlder fleet. I am giving you one warning. Stop attacking the Kalani immediately. Leave the system now. You have 30 seconds to comply." Laughter came through the speakers. Harsh, ugly laughter that hurt to listen to. "Humans? We know of no such species in our conquest records. You must be another variety of soft flesh trying to protect prey that belongs to us. Your ships are small and few. Surrender now, and we will make your death quick." The Vorthak commander continued speaking, but Hyunwoo was not listening anymore. He was watching the main screen where the alien weapons continued to burn the planet's surface. He was thinking about the frightened Kalani survivors who had spent 2 days hiding in space while their world died. "Admiral?" Mi-young said quietly. "Your response?" Hyunwoo looked around his bridge at the crew that had followed him through years of dangerous missions. He saw Captain Sujin Lee on the communication screen, her hand already moving toward her weapon controls. He saw Yunbi preparing tactical information and Dong Hyun recording everything for the history books. All ships. Battle Formation Alpha, he ordered. Target their lead battleship. Full weapon spread. Sir, they outgun us 3-1, Yunbi warned. Maybe, Hyunwoo replied. But they have never fought humans before. They think we are soft prey like everyone else they have bullied. Time to show them what happens when predators meet something that predates them. The human fleet moved forward in perfect formation. 5 battleships led the way with destroyers flanking them and corvettes spread out to cover the sides. Every weapon system was charged and ready. 30 seconds is up, Mi-young announced. Hyunwoo never took his eyes off the burning planet. All ships, open fire. The space around Theta 7 filled with light as human weapons spoke for the first time in an alien war. Missiles streaked through vacuum while energy beams cut across the darkness. The lead Vorthak battleship, massive and intimidating, disappeared in a ball of fire and twisted metal. The laughter stopped coming through the communication channel. Captain Woo-sung Kang's voice came from the Earth's fury, calm and professional. Direct hit on primary target. Enemy vessel destroyed. Moving to secondary targets. The remaining Vorthak ships turned away from the planet to face this new threat. Their weapons were powerful, designed to destroy cities and kill millions. But they were not designed to fight other warships operated by crews who understood violence. Incoming transmission from the Vorthak fleet, Dong Hyun reported. Put it through. The alien commander's voice was different now. The arrogance was gone, replaced by confusion and growing fear. What are you? How is this possible? Prey species cannot fight like this. Hyunwoo smiled grimly. We are humans. We come from a death world where everything tries to kill everything else. And we are, not prey. The battle was just beginning. But Hyunwoo could already see how it would end. The Vorthak had built their empire by attacking people who would not fight back. They had never faced an enemy that had learned to survive by being more dangerous than anything else on their world. Today they would learn what Earth had taught humanity about violence. The second Vorthak battleship exploded in a shower of metal and fire as Captain Woo-sung Kang's Earth's fury pounded it with everything the massive human dreadnought had. The alien ship had been trying to turn away and run, but human targeting. Computers were faster than alien reflexes. Target destroyed, Woo-sung reported in his calm, deep voice, moving to engage remaining heavy units. Admiral Hyunwoo Park watched the battle unfold on his screens and felt a cold satisfaction. The Vorthak had expected easy prey, but instead they had found apex predators. The aliens were learning a hard lesson about the difference between bullying the weak and fighting the strong. The remaining Vorthak battleship was trying to coordinate its smaller ships into some kind of formation. The alien commander was shouting orders through the communication channels, his voice getting higher and more desperate with each passing minute. Form hunting pack formation. Use swarming tactics. These creatures cannot be allowed to escape and report our location to others. Commander Eunbi Choi looked up from her tactical station with something like pity in her eyes. Admiral, they still think this is about hunting. They do not understand that they are the ones being hunted now. Captain Soo Jin Lee's Iron Wind was dancing through space between 2 Vorthak cruisers, her destroyer's engines spinning her ship in patterns that made the aliens dizzy. Every time they tried to lock weapons on her, she was somewhere else, and her return fire was precise and deadly. These things are slow, Soo-jin reported through gritted teeth as she pulled her ship through a maneuver that would have killed most alien pilots. They are built for attacking stationary targets, not fighting other warships. On the long-range scanners, Captain Jin Ho-yoon's Swift Strike was leading a pack of corvettes in hit-and-run attacks against the Vorthak support ships. The human corvettes moved like sharks, striking fast and hard before disappearing back into space. Each attack left another alien ship dead or crippled. Their formation is breaking up, Yunbi reported. The smaller ships are trying to retreat, but the battleship commander is ordering them to stay and fight. Hyunwoo could hear the alien arguments through the communication system. The Vorthak fleet was falling apart as fear and confusion spread through their ranks. Ships that had worked together to kill helpless civilians could not cooperate when facing an enemy that fought back. Admiral, incoming transmission from the Vorthak Fleet Commander, Chief Dong-hyun Kim announced. Put him through. The alien voice was cracking with stress and disbelief. What manner of cursed world spawned you creatures? No prey species fights like this. No garden world could produce such violence. Hyunwoo stepped forward to respond, but before he could speak, Captain Haewon Kim's voice came through from her destroyer Storm Chaser. Admiral requesting permission to answer that question for you. Hyunwoo nodded. Go ahead, Captain. Haewon's voice was cold as winter when she spoke to the aliens. You want to know what world we come from? Earth. A planet where everything tries to kill everything else every single day. Where storms can destroy entire cities and animals hunt in packs to bring down prey 10 times their size. Where diseases, volcanoes, earthquakes, and poisonous air have been trying to kill us for millions of years. She paused to let the translation computer catch up, then continued. We learned to fight because if we did not fight, we died. We learned to kill because if we did not kill, we starved. We learned to work together because alone, we were food for something bigger and meaner than us. Your species learned to prey on the weak. Ours learned to survive by becoming stronger than everything that wanted us dead. The alien commander tried to respond, but his transmission was cut off as Storm Chaser's weapons tore his communications array apart. The battle was turning into a massacre, but it was not the kind of massacre the Vorthak were used to. They were the ones dying now, and they did not know how to handle it. Admiral, 2 of their cruisers are trying to ram the thunderstorm, Unbi warned. Evasive maneuvers, Hyunwoo ordered, but he was not worried. The thunderstorm was built to fight, and her crew knew their business. The massive human battleship rolled to the side as the alien cruisers came at her. Instead of trying to run, she turned toward them and opened fire with every weapon she had. The first alien ship disintegrated under the focused firepower. The second ship clipped the thunderstorm's armor but did no serious damage before being blown apart by the secondary gun batteries. Minor damage to hull section 7, reported Chief Engineer Yoo Jin-song. Repair crews already responding. Through it all, the human ships never stopped moving, never stopped fighting, never showed the slightest fear. They fought like they had been born for war, because in a way they had been. Earth had made them into warriors before they ever left their home planet. The Vorthak were learning that there was a difference between the ability to kill helpless civilians and the ability to fight trained soldiers. Their weapons were powerful, but they had never learned tactics beyond overwhelming the defenseless with superior numbers. Boarding pods incoming, announced Lieutenant Colonel Seong-min Park from the Marine Command Center deep inside the thunderstorm. Vorthak are trying to take our ship the old-fashioned way. Hyunwoo almost smiled. Show them what human Marines do to unwelcome visitors. The alien boarding pods crashed into the thunderstorm's hull and disgorged their contents into the corridors. What came out were creatures that looked like they had been designed for intimidation. 8 feet tall, covered in thick scales with claws and teeth meant to terrify prey species into submission. They had never fought humans in close quarters before. The corridors of human warships were not designed for comfort. They were designed to be defensible. Every intersection was a potential ambush point. Every door was reinforced and every section could be sealed off instantly. Sergeant Ji-woo Park led her squad through the corridors like she was hunting dangerous game, which, in a way, she was. The aliens were bigger and stronger than humans, but they moved like they expected their enemies to run away in fear. Contact Section 12, she reported calmly as her squad opened fire. 6 hostiles down, no friendly casualties. More reports came in from other parts of the ship. The Vorthak boarders were discovering that humans had been fighting in cramped spaces for as long as they had been fighting anywhere else. Every human Marine carried weapons designed for close-quarters combat and knew how to use them. Boarding. Action repelled, Xiongmin reported 15 minutes later. All hostile forces eliminated. No survivors. Meanwhile, the space battle was reaching its conclusion. The last Vorthak battleship was burning and listing to one side, its weapons silent, and its crew trying desperately to escape in lifeboats. The smaller alien ships that were still alive had given up trying to fight and were attempting to flee the system. "Let them go," Hyunwoo ordered when his captains asked for permission to pursue. "Sir?" Sujin asked with surprise. "Let a few escape," he repeated. "Someone needs to carry word back to the Vorthak Empire about what happened here." Captain Wusung's voice came through with what might have been amusement. "You want them to know that humans exist. I want them to know that their victims are not helpless anymore," Hyunwoo corrected. The Kalani called for help, and help arrived. If the Vorthak Empire wants to continue preying on innocent species, they need to know that someone is watching now. The battle was over. The space around Theta 7 was filled with the wreckage of alien warships and the scattered debris of a fleet that had thought it was invincible. The planet below was still burning, but the bombs had stopped falling. On his screens, Hyunwoo could see his ships regrouping and beginning rescue operations. Human medical teams were already working to help Kalani survivors, and engineers were assessing what could be salvaged from the destroyed research stations. "Casualty report," he requested. "Minimal damage to our forces," Yunbi reported. "Storm Chaser took some hits to her armor. Iron Wind has some burned-out sensor arrays, and we lost 2 corvettes to that final suicide run. Total casualties: 14. Wounded, 3 killed." Hyunwoo felt the weight of those 3 deaths. Every loss hurt, but he knew it could have been much worse if they had been fighting an enemy that understood modern warfare. And the Vorthak. Complete destruction of their fleet except for the ships we allowed to escape. Best estimate is over 10,000 enemy casualties. The numbers were staggering, but Hyunwoo felt no guilt. The Vorthak had come to Theta 7 to commit genocide. They had killed helpless researchers and civilians, burned cities, and laughed about hunting prey. Now they knew that some prey had claws. "Signal from the surviving Kalani refugees," Dong-hyun announced. "They are asking to speak with you, Admiral." "Put them through." The main screen showed the interior of one of the rescue ships where dozens of small, furry alien faces looked back at him. They still seemed frightened, but there was something else in their large, dark eyes now. Hope. The Kalani who spoke for them was the same researcher who had first talked to Captain Jin-ho. Her voice was soft and musical, but stronger than before. "Admiral Park, we do not understand how this is possible. The Vorthak Empire has conquered hundreds of worlds. No one has ever defeated them in battle. No one has ever even tried to fight them. How did you do this?" Hyunwoo thought about how to explain Earth to creatures who had grown up on a peaceful world, where the most danger. 3 days after the battle, the human fleet had established a temporary base in orbit around what remained of Theta 7. Medical ships worked around the clock to treat wounded Kalani survivors while engineering crews tried to salvage what they could from the destroyed research stations. Admiral Hyunwoo Park walked through the corridors of the hospital ship Mercy, watching human doctors and nurses work alongside the alien survivors they had rescued. The size difference was striking. Even the smallest humans towered over the Kalani, who barely reached chest height on most people. Dr. Tae-hyun, the fleet's chief medical officer, met him at the main treatment center. She was a calm woman who had served on frontier worlds where medical supplies were scarce and tough decisions had to be made quickly. "How are they doing?" Hyunwoo asked. "Physically, most of them are fine," Tae-hyun replied. "Some malnutrition, from hiding in space for days. A few injuries from falling debris when the attack started, but mentally," she shook her head. "These people have never seen violence like this. They do not understand war or weapons or why anyone would want to hurt them." Through the transparent walls of the medical bay, Hyunwoo could see groups of Kalani huddled together, their large eyes constantly moving as if they expected new attacks at any moment. Their soft fur, which should have been bright and colorful, had turned gray with stress. "Have any of them asked about going home?" he asked. "There is no home to go back to," Tae-hyun said quietly. "The Vorthak destroyed everything: cities, farms, research stations, even the forests and grasslands. The planet will take decades to recover, if it ever does." A small voice spoke from behind them in careful, heavily accented English. "Excuse me, Admiral Park?" They turned to see Kira Dell, the Kalani researcher who had become the unofficial spokesperson for the survivors. She had been working with the human translation computers to learn basic English, though she still struggled with some concepts that did not exist in her language. Yes, Kiradel? My people have been talking and we have questions about humans. Would you help us understand? Hyunwoo nodded and followed her to a large room where about 50 Kalani had gathered. They sat in small groups on the floor, their large eyes focused on him with intense curiosity, mixed with lingering fear. Kiradel stood next to him and spoke to her people in their musical language before switching back to English. We have been trying to understand what happened during the battle. We watched the recordings from your ships, but what we saw does not make sense to us. What do you mean? Another Kalani, an elderly male with graying fur, spoke up through the translator. The Vorthak ships were larger than yours. They had more weapons. They should have won the battle easily, but they seemed afraid of you. How is this possible? Hyunwoo sat down on the floor so he would be closer to their eye level. Even sitting, he was still taller than most of them, but it seemed to make them more comfortable. Tell me about your world, he said instead of answering directly. What was life like before the Vorthak came? Kiradel's expression became wistful. Our world was beautiful. Gentle rains, warm sunshine, fertile soil where anything could grow. The most dangerous animal was the forest runner, but even they only ate plants. No diseases, no storms, no disasters. We spent our time studying how to make better food and medicine for everyone, the elderly male added. For thousands of years, we never knew war or violence. When disagreements arose, we talked until everyone agreed. When resources became scarce, we learned to share. The idea of hurting another living being for personal gain was impossible for us to understand. Hyunwoo nodded slowly. That explains a lot. Your species evolved on what we call a garden world, a planet where life is easy and safe. You never needed to learn how to fight because there was nothing to fight against. What kind of world did humans evolve on? Asked a young Kalani female. Hyunwoo thought about how to explain Earth to beings who had never experienced danger. Earth is what we call a death world. Almost everything on our planet can kill you in some way. The weather changes without warning and can destroy entire cities. Diseases spread through populations and kill millions. Animals hunt other animals for food, and the biggest, strongest, smartest ones survive while the weak ones die. The Kalani looked shocked. Several of them moved closer together, as if the very idea of such a world frightened them. But how did you survive? Kiradel asked. By becoming more dangerous than the things that wanted to kill us, Hyunwoo replied. We learned to make weapons and tools. We learned to work together in groups to hunt animals larger than ourselves. We learned to build shelters that could protect us from storms and fires. Most importantly, we learned that sometimes you have to fight to protect the people you care about. Chief Engineer Yoo-Jin Song appeared in the doorway and caught Hyunwoo's attention. Admiral, we have finished analyzing the Vorthak ship wreckage. Commander Choi thinks you should see what we found. Continue without me, Hyunwoo told the Kalani. Dr. Oh can answer more questions about human biology and culture. He followed Yoo-Jin to the command center where Commander Eunbi Choi was studying holographic displays of alien technology. Captain Soo-Jin Lee was there too, along with several other senior officers. What did you find? Hyunwoo asked. The Vorthak ships are exactly what we thought they were, Eunbi replied. Weapons designed to attack defenseless targets. Their armor is thick but only on the front. Their weapons are powerful but slow to aim and reload. Everything about their design assumes the enemy will not fight back. Yoo-Jin activated another display showing the internal structure of a Vorthak battleship. Look at this, Admiral. No internal bulkheads for damage control. No redundant systems. No marine barracks or boarding equipment. These ships were built to intimidate and overwhelm, not to fight other warships. They have never faced organized resistance before, Soo-Jin added. Every species they have encountered has been like the Kalani, peaceful people who do not understand violence. The Vorthak built their entire military doctrine around the assumption that all intelligent life is helpless prey. Commander In Soo, Bae, the fleet's intelligence officer, brought up a new set of data. Admiral, we cracked their communication logs and navigation computers. What we found is disturbing. The display showed a map of local space with dozens of star systems marked in different colors. Red systems were labeled as conquered, yellow systems were marked for future conquest, and green systems were listed as unknown. The Vorthak Empire controls 47 star systems, Insu explained. They have enslaved or exterminated the populations of hundreds of worlds. Every species they encountered was classified as garden world soft flesh, intelligent life that evolved on safe, peaceful planets. How many species? Hyunwoo asked quietly. At least 300 that we can identify from their records. Billions of individual beings killed or enslaved over the past 2 centuries. The command center fell silent as everyone absorbed the scale of the horror. The attack on Theta 7 had not been unusual. It was just the latest in a long campaign of genocide that had been going on for generations. There is more, Insu continued. According to their xenobiology records, the Vorthak believe it is impossible for intelligent life to evolve on Deathworlds. Their scientists claim that harsh environments prevent the development of complex reasoning and cooperation. Captain Woo-sung Kang's voice came through the communication system from his ship. They think Deathworlds can only produce mindless beasts, which means they have never encountered a species like humanity, Yunbi concluded. To them, we are an impossibility, a species that combines intelligence with the survival instincts of apex predators. Hyunwoo studied the star map, noting how the Vorthak expansion was spreading outward from their core systems like a cancer. What about other species? Are there any survivors from the conquered worlds? Some, Insu replied. The Vorthak keep the most useful species as slaves and workers, but according to their records, there is also a loose confederation of unconquered species that they call the Soft Coalition, garden world species that have banded together to try to slow the Vorthak advance. How successful have they been? Not very. They share information and try to evacuate populations before attacks, but they have never won a military engagement. They do not understand warfare any better than the Kalani do. Captain Jin Ho-yoon's voice joined the conversation from his corvette. Admiral, I just finished debriefing more of the Kalani survivors. They have been in communication with other species across the galaxy. There are hundreds of civilizations out there, and they are all terrified of the Vorthak Empire. Hyunwoo turned back to the star map and studied the pattern of conquered and threatened worlds. Each red dot represented millions or billions of dead beings, people who had been killed simply because they were too peaceful to fight back. Commander Bay, what is the Vorthak response to our victory here? Their high command is calling it impossible, Insu replied. They are sending investigation fleets to confirm that their task force was actually destroyed. They want to capture humans for study because they believe we cannot be real. And when they realize we are real, unknown, sir, they have no protocols for dealing Do-Tiu. 6 months after the battle at Theta 7, Admiral Hyun-woo Park stood on the bridge of a space station that had not existed before humans arrived in this part of the galaxy. Haven Station orbited the recovering world below. Its massive construction, bays busy building new ships designed with both human weapons technology and alien engineering knowledge. The station was a miracle of cooperation between species that had never worked together before. Kalani agricultural experts were growing food in vast hydroponic gardens. Imbari engineers were designing new hull materials that were lighter and stronger than anything humans had created. Korthan philosophers were helping to write treaties and laws for an alliance that was growing every day. Admiral, the morning briefing is ready, announced Captain Na Young Jang, who now served as his chief of staff for alliance operations. Her destroyer Stellar Hammer was docked at the station after returning from a diplomatic mission to the Zalani Confederacy. Hyunwoo walked to the command center where representatives from a dozen different species were gathered around a holographic display of local space. The map now showed green dots marking allied systems, yellow dots showing neutral systems that were considering joining, and red dots that marked continued Vorthak expansion. Kira Dell was there, no longer the frightened refugee she had been 6 months ago. She now wore the uniform of the Alliance Intelligence Service, and served as the primary liaison between human military forces and the peaceful species they were protecting. Her English had improved dramatically, though she still struggled with human concepts related to warfare. Status report, Hyunwoo requested. Commander Insu Bay activated the display to show recent intelligence. The Vorthak Empire is responding to our existence in 3 ways. First, they are sending larger fleets to attack alliance worlds, trying to overwhelm us with superior numbers. Second, they are attempting to develop new weapons specifically designed to fight human-style tactics. Third, they are accelerating their conquest schedule to grab as much territory as possible before we can stop them. Captain Woo Sung Kang appeared on the communication screen from his ship Earth's Fury, which was leading a patrol fleet near the front lines. Admiral, we intercepted more Vorthak communications. They are calling us the impossible species and have declared our existence to be an offense against the natural order of the galaxy. How flattering, Captain Sujin Lee commented dryly from her position at the tactical station. Dr. Tae Hyun Oh, who now ran the Alliance Medical Service, brought up health statistics. We have successfully evacuated populations from 12 worlds that were scheduled for a Vorthak attack. Total beings saved, over 40 million. However, we estimate that the Vorthak have accelerated their operations and killed approximately 200 million beings in the past 6 months. The number hung in the air like a weight. Even with all their victories, humanity and its allies were still losing the larger war simply because they could not be everywhere at once. Kira Dell spoke up in her soft voice. Admiral, I have been in communication with the Soft Coalition leadership. They want to meet with you personally to discuss a formal military alliance. Where and when? Sanctuary Station, in the Neutral Chorus system, 3 days from now. Leaders from over 50 species will be there, including some we have never contacted before. Lieutenant Colonel Seongmin Park, who now commanded the Alliance Marine Corps, raised a concern. Sir, our intelligence suggests the Vorthak know about this meeting. They might attempt to attack the station during the conference, all the more reason to be there, Hyun-woo replied. If they want to attack a gathering of peaceful species, they will have to go through us first. 2 days later, the human fleet dropped out of hyperspace near Sanctuary Station. The structure was enormous, built over centuries by dozens of species, as a place for diplomacy and trade. Its gleaming towers and docking bays had never seen warfare, and its inhabitants had never imagined they would need military protection. Captain Jin Ho Yoon's swift strike was leading a squadron of corvettes, on patrol when his sensors detected incoming ships. Admiral, we have multiple hyperspace signatures approaching fast. Configuration matches Vorthak battle formations. How many ships? Hyun-woo asked. I count at least 100, sir. This is their biggest fleet yet. On the station, alien leaders from across the galaxy were gathering in the main conference hall. They came in all shapes and sizes. Tall, thin beings with 4 arms, small creatures covered in colorful feathers, aquatic species in environmental suits, and dozens of others. What they all had in common was fear. Ambassador Vel Kryn of the E. Corthan Hegemony stood at the podium, her tentacles moving in complex patterns that indicated distress. Fellow beings, we face the darkest hour in galactic history. The Vorthak Empire grows stronger each day, and soon there will be nowhere left to run. But the humans have shown that the Vorthak can be defeated, protested Representative Quitam of the artistic Zelani. Their warships are powerful, and their tactics are effective. The humans number only a few thousand beings across dozens of ships, replied Councillor Morek of the Imbari Engineering Guild. The Vorthak Empire has millions of ships and billions of soldiers. Mathematics tells us that bravery alone cannot overcome such odds. The debate continued as the alien leaders struggled with concepts they had never needed to understand before. How do you organize a military when your species has never fought a war? How do you train soldiers when your people have never held weapons? How do you inspire courage in beings who have known only peace? Outside the station, the human fleet was taking battle positions as the Vorthak armada approached. This time, the enemy had brought enough ships to overwhelm even human tactics through sheer numbers. Signal from the Vorthak commander, Chief Dong-hyun Kim reported. Put him through. The alien voice was different from the others they had heard before. Older, more confident, with the tone of someone who had commanded many battles. I am Fleet Admiral Thurok Ka of the Vorthak Empire. I have come to end the impossible species and restore the natural order to this galaxy. This is Admiral Park of the Human Alliance Fleet. You are ordered to withdraw immediately. This system is under our protection. Harsh laughter came through the speakers. Your protection? Little Deathworld creature, I bring 200 ships and 500,000 warriors. You have what, 30 vessels? Your impossible luck ends today. Hyunwoo looked around his bridge at the crew that had followed him through months of battles against impossible odds. They had saved millions of lives and given hope to species that had lived in terror for generations. Today would determine whether that hope would survive. All ships, battle formation Delta, he ordered. Protect the station at all costs. The space around Sanctuary Station erupted in light and fire as the largest battle in galactic history began. Human ships moved with deadly precision, while Vorthak vessels advanced in massive waves, trying to use their numerical advantage to overwhelm the defenses. Inside the station, the alien leaders felt the structure shake as weapons fire impacted the shields. Emergency lights flashed and alarms wailed as the reality of warfare came to their peaceful haven. The humans cannot win this, whispered Ambassador Velkrin. There are too many enemies, but Kiradel stood up from her seat, her small form dwarfed by the larger aliens around her. You do not understand humans yet, she said in her musical voice. They do not fight because they think they can win. They fight because it is the right thing to do. On the main screen, they could see the battle raging outside. Human ships were outnumbered 6-1, but they fought with a skill and determination that amazed the watching aliens. Every movement was calculated, every shot was aimed, every maneuver was part of a larger plan that the Vorthak could not understand. Captain Sujin Lee's Iron Wind was surrounded by enemy cruisers, but instead of trying to escape, she led them into the crossfire of 2 human battleships. Captain Woo-Sung Kang's Earth's Fury was trading shots with 3 Vorthak dreadnoughts at once, her massive guns speaking in steady rhythm. The battle raged for hours. Human ships were destroyed, good people died, but the line held. Every time the Vorthak tried to break through to attack the station, human crews threw themselves into the breach. Finally, Fleet Admiral Thurok Ka's voice came through the communications, again, but now it was filled with disbelief and growing panic. This is impossible. You should have been destroyed hours ago. How are you still fighting? Admiral Hyunwoo Park's response was calm and steady. Because we learned something on our death world that your empire never understood. Sometimes the strong have a duty to protect the weak, even if it costs them everything. The tide of battle turned when reinforcements arrived. Not human reinforcements. They were still weeks away from Earth. But Alliance ships crewed by beings who had never fought before but were willing to learn. Kalani medical ships moved through the battle zone rescuing survivors. Imbari engineering. Vessels repaired damaged human ships with new technologies. Korthan command ships coordinated the defense with philosophical precision. For the first time in galactic history, the peaceful species of the galaxy were fighting back. The Vorthak fleet began to retreat, their formation breaking apart as fear and confusion spread through their ranks. Fleet Admiral Thurok Ka's final transmission was a single word: